I'm an evidential medium, and I bring through the survival of consciousness. We're spiritual beings, not spiritual doings. So we want to step into the energy of being. What am I to learn from that fear? And step into that energy. What are you here to teach me?
My intuition kicks in like a half a second after I need it to, and it's like, oh, if I just would have gone a little bit slower, I would have caught that, or I wouldn't have done that.
Gratitude, compassion, love. These are higher frequencies that if we can get in touch with, we realize that we have those within us. The one piece of advice I want everyone to know is that
In this episode, I had the pleasure of interviewing Cheryl Murphy. Cheryl has studied metaphysics for over 20 years. She has oriented her practice as a spiritual medium towards channeling loved ones who have passed over. She is a clairvoyant, healer, ordained minister, as well as a certified hypnotherapist and an intuitive facilitator. Cheryl has studied mediumship and advanced mediumship classes. She used her ability as a psychic and a medium to help people make life's important decisions. And as a psychic, she is able to bridge the connection to your spiritual guides. As a medium, she can put you in touch with your loved ones. Enjoy this conversation with Cheryl Murphy. Cheryl Murphy, you are a psychic and a medium. I would love to hear your perspective on the fires and the hurricanes and any other natural disasters that have been occurring on our planet.
well, first off, thank you, Jessica, for having me. And it's really appropriate that you're asking this question during this time when a lot of us are having these spiritual awakenings. Well, Mother Earth is also teaching us to awaken and to awaken within ourselves. And, unfortunately, with the fires, our hearts go out to everyone. And really, any type of natural disaster is so heartbreaking. But it is all about coming back to that interconnectedness that we all are sharing. And I believe Mother Earth is asking us to pay attention not only to her and what's happening, what we're doing, for example, to the waters, to the soil, to the air that we breathe, but more personally, one more step with that is what are we doing with our own bodies? How are we treating ourselves, our own kindness? Do we realize that we have this amazing power within ourselves to heal, to hope, to manifest, to create? Because I feel in some way we want to be more conscious with that. We want to set that intentional manifesting. We want to open up our consciousness to breathe in that, yes, we all are all interlinked, right? So we're interlinked on this amazing law of divine oneness. We could use that as an example where it talks about that every living thing is connected. Anything that's living and breathing, we're all made up of the same material. Mother Earth is asking us to settle into who we are as an individual, as a spiritual being. And my goal is to share with people. We need to sit with gratitude more. We need to sit with meditation more, with prayer more, with acknowledgement that we are a co-creator of the universe. And I do believe Mother Earth is asking us to, wake up and pay more attention to what's happening around us. And with every awful thing that's happening in the world, there's something compassionate happening in the world as well. I mean, it's opening up so many people's ability to be giving, to be loving, to open up that part of themselves that's deep within that they didn't know that they had. And I do believe it also awakens people to their soul, their inner spirit, to be of service. It's as if spirit's knocking on the door saying, let's go help someone. Let's serve. Let's put that into practice and see how healing that can be. What we reap, we sow, right? That's the golden rule. So, for example, so when you hand out the law of giving, the law of receiving, it's such a high vibration that it will certainly come back around to help you instead, all right? Or to help you and your family, your community. So I do believe we're building a global community.
Does that mean that they are in fact natural, or is there anything to the belief where they are man-made?
I'd have to say it could be both in some way. I mean, I do believe how we're caring for this earth and how we're uh, ignoring some of the signs on how to take care of her could be, you could call that man made. But I understand what you're saying because there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there about if they were intentionally set or arsenal, for example, for the fires. And I do believe sometimes it is an accident. There are people who just don't know any better and think that they can light a fire, for example, and control it, but not really realizing the environment that they're all in. So I would have to contribute it to both, actually. I know the winds where I live, the windstorm was horrendous, and I'm an hour north of Los Angeles. So we had windstorms for days that just were on end. It was just shattering, actually. You couldn't even walk outside. They were so strong. So this was such an incredible event. As they say, apocalyptic is what they're using out here in the news, or we may have heard that same thing, because it is to get our attention.
The people that were badly affected, is that some sort of manifestation caused by themselves?
Yeah.
Is that an internal thing that they need to look at, or?
Yeah, I know a lot of people may refer to that. And I would like to say, I believe it's more of a consciousness awakening for many people. I think what these people went through on an individual level was to get a lot of people's awareness. So, in some way, they were opening up the field of energy for a lot of us to look at or to witness. In some way, it's grander scale than that. I don't believe it was so individual. Um, as some people are saying, I do believe it's more of a how can we help as a community? Yeah.
Okay. What would be some other ways, maybe not on such a grand scale, that happens in our everyday lives that's more of a collective energy that is out of our control? Because, and even in my own day-to-day life, I feel like I'm manifesting all these things, good or bad. But I know that there are some contributions from the collective. So how can you really differentiate from that?
Well, we are all connected. So, what I always tell my students or my clients is stepping into that gratitude space, stepping into practicing gratitude opens up your frequency, your vibration, your heart energy to a very high level, to where when you are manifesting, co creating, when you're daydreaming, when you're hoping, you're attaining that energy of manifesting for your highest good. So when we step into gratitude, and I offer people, please write a gratitude journal, right? Write down 5 things you appreciate. Even before you go to bed at night, take a few moments sitting in that energy of gratitude, of appreciation. It really does even help heal your consciousness. It's also helping to heal the physical body. We're talking about mind, body, spirit connection. And I do know that people are awakening, figuring out, like they're asking more questions. How can I participate in my own healing? How can I participate and co create and manifest the things I want? I always share with people, look, if it hasn't happened yet in your life, it doesn't mean it's not still going to happen. It's just that other things that you've been manifesting are happening first. And we do have to trust that law of divine timing, right? That it's going to happen for you in alignment with you for your highest good. It may even come out better than you imagine.
Okay, that gives some hope, but
Yeah.
also I always wonder too, whether to trust the divine timing, or where do the limiting beliefs and
Yeah.
the blocks come in?
Yeah, the limiting beliefs, the doubt, the is it really happening? Can I believe? Those are lessons for us to work on. That's why we're here, is to have that faith, have that trust. And it's not easy. We have to get in touch with the darker side of ourselves, for example, the shadow side. We have to get in touch with the anger that we don't really want to present to the world, or the feelings of sadness. We have to really step into the energy of our emotions and our feelings, knowing that there's everything is a jewel, everything is to learn from, and it's different for everybody. But I would say, look, it's not about us sweeping it under the rug anymore, so to speak. This is about having conversations. Mental health, big conversation these days. Thank God we need to be more aware of our fellow human, our fellow community, about how everyone is going through something. Everyone is in their own transformational stage or phase. And to know that, look, they are all of us are out to learn these amazing lessons in life. And they are to be more kind to yourself, kinder to others, more gentle with ourselves, and watch the world happen in that way.
For those who are listening that are working on manifesting something, but they know they have those limiting beliefs or those blocks, how can we begin to let go of them?
For example, I was working with someone who was in a depressive state. They were in a lot of physical pain from a recent car accident they had had, and they came to me for help with energy healing or anything I could share with them spiritually. So I was helping them get in touch with their own individual energy field, which I totally recommend for everyone to understand about our aura, our energy field, our auric, but also I help them open up to their own guides, their own angels, their own spirit team, opening up, helping them through meditation, through prayer, through helping them understand that those blocks are here for a reason. And it's really when we send that block or that doubt, that feeling of fear, which is big, sending it love, and to really, whether I do it with them in meditation or I let them practice this on their own, it's almost like we have to distance ourselves a little bit from that fear, for example, to understand it. And then once you understand the lessons, and there may be more than one, you'll understand that your physical pain lessens, or you come to this higher realization that you don't need to carry this energy around anymore that's stagnant or of a lower vibration.
Mm.
So it's really through the inspiration and the realization that, this is a healing moment and a healing lesson, these blocks or doubts. And my goal is to teach you techniques, to teach you some tools. And it is through the power of love, which is the highest frequency, that we evolve, that we transform, that we reach that higher state of, enlightenment, so to speak, or at least compassion. Yeah.
What about for those who are getting the same lesson over and over again and they're frustrated and they're not passing it? Is there something that they can do? I know self-awareness is key, but what tool or technique or advice could you give to someone who's, on that path of repeating the same lesson?
I smile with you because I'm human. It happens. I understand. I've been there. But really, how I've learned to work with changing patterns. The reason why we have repeating patterns, where whether we attract the same person or the next job is just like the last job, we're creating situations that we are just like the one we just got out of. Number one is we need to give ourselves some space in between these experiences. So, for example, rather than going from one relationship to the next, you need to you need to really anchor yourself into your own physical awareness. You need to take a pause here, we'll just say. You need to make sure that you are aware of there might still be some residual energy from a past relationship. Sometimes we feel we can do everything on our own, right? But sometimes we need help from the spirit world, our guides, angels, great spirit, whomever it is that you reach out to for help, but looking for that higher level of awareness, right, to help resolve or to help remove anything that is you need to help you move forward. It is about learning about your own strengths before you step into to shift the energy or to step into another. We'll just use a relationship. We have to almost appreciate and find out how much we've changed, how much we've learned, how much we've grown and evolved before we step out into the world to look for another relationship. It really does come down to self love and self awareness. It's not easy, it's a practice, and we're all practicing to open up our hearts even more on a deeper level.
You mentioned asking for help. So if we do want to talk to our spirit guides or our higher power, what is the best way that we can ask for guidance?
Yeah, listening to our own intuition, because we all have intuition and we don't trust it or we doubt it, and then the ego steps in and brings us that fear or doubt or don't believe that. But really to connect with our guides, our angels, our own higher awareness, first off, we have to make space. We have to meditate. We have to practice gratitude. We have to step into the energy that's available to us. And we don't really pay attention to it a lot, or we need to understand that that is the law of vibration. Even stepping into nature. So I recommend people go for a walk, go for a hike, ground yourself to Mother Earth, right? Feel that energy of her anchoring into your physical body, sending her love through the bottoms of your feet, really connecting with her, walking barefoot outside. A lot of people love doing that. It's about bringing that beautiful healing energy, that unconditional love of Mother Earth into you. Now, when you practice meditation, gratitude, kindness, connecting and grounding with Mother Earth, it opens the window, it opens the door, it opens your energy field to be able to receive and be more aware of your guides and angels, your higher self, because they're here, they're everywhere. It's really our awareness that we have to open that up. And then we step into asking for signs, asking for validation. Yesterday, I was just connecting with my guides, asking them about a choice that I had to make. And I did. I still ask for a sign. I asked to see a yellow butterfly. I actually saw 7 yellow butterflies that day. It was
Wow.
amazing. I know. Some now they weren't all like living and floating. I don't want people to think that. I want people to understand. I got a card, a thank you card in the mail. It had 5 butterflies on it. I saw a woman who had a t-shirt in my yoga class with a yellow butterfly on it. So you see, I mean, I'm in the middle of winter, but I'm still asking for those signs and I saw them. So really we have to open up expand our mind, our consciousness to really understand that signs can come in all shapes and forms.
I can share something and I would love to get your perspective on it. I often go for walks, silent walks. So it's like a walking meditation. And that's when my monkey mind will tell me all of these thoughts that don't serve me. And that's when I will ask my guides to, step in and just support me with those thoughts and that aren't serving me and that they're not welcome here. A couple of times that I've taken a walk recently, a black butterfly has flown in front of me. So years ago, a black butterfly flew around me. I was on a boat about to go out to sea. I ended up being trapped out at sea overnight in a thunderstorm. It was basically a near-death experience.
My.
But that's a whole other. My question is the black butterfly. So now when I see that and it flies in front of me, I'm like, huh, do I need to be, careful with whatever I'm thinking about in this moment? Or should I not overthink this butterfly?
Oh, wow. That is such a great question. And how important for you to remember the black butterfly. I mean, that's really a great message here is that you knew that that meant something to you then. And then here in your current situation, you brought it through again. Number one, no fear. Number one, it's all about transformation. And even to look at the butterfly, about how it does go through its own transformation, is what I would say. So even though you had, a scary experience before on the boat, it was still a transformative message for you, not to have the same feeling of the scariness this time, but to know that that is even a spirit animal for you, or it could be even a spirit animal on your totem pole to tell you, like, heads up, transformation's coming. But not about having fear, not at all. And I love the signs that you even remembered that. And I do want to say sometimes that monkey mind that we all have, what I do when I'm out walking, so to speak, and I feel like I have a monkey mind, I start connecting with my body, where am I at, my physical surroundings. I'm almost like giving it attention or sending it love. I'm letting it I'm letting it present to me a healing energy, like, okay, what is it that you want to tell me before I start talking to my guides and my angels? Like, let me send you love. Let me breathe into my body. Let me feel my feet on the earth. Let me feel my hands, my body movement. Let me feel the air around me, just connecting with the environment around you. And then I feel in some way that quiets or stills that monkey mind saying, like, okay, we got some attention. We're good now. And then
Yeah,
guides and angels can step in. But yeah, but powerful. I
that-
have to say, it's powerful that you remembered that sign. That's what's amazing about the stories, is that it's going to be there for you in the future as well.
I'm so glad now that I brought it up to you
I am
because
too.
there was fear around it. But yeah, obviously I don't want there to be, because I don't want to go on another walk and then see this butterfly, then the fear is there. So how do we know if a sign is a good sign or a bad sign? Do we need to ask for the sign beforehand?
I believe all signs, and I do love asking for signs, and I don't really like to even be specific. I just say, please help me, right? That's all we need to do. Please help me. And the spirit world will come to us with signs or symbols that mean things to us personally, perhaps, right? But being afraid, I do believe that's a little bit of maybe a memory or an ego, or like for you with the boat. I mean, that was oh my God, I'm sure it was almost, or it was a near death experience. So take it for that, but understand that spirit does not want to put fear in front of us with signs or symbols. And that if we really need to know something, if we really need to know to go left instead of right, or stop for a moment and wait for something else before we proceed, our own intuition, our own awareness, it will naturally happen. I do believe. I do believe that if you need to move left or right, it's going to happen for you naturally. And then sometimes you're going to hear a little voice, perhaps, that higher intuition that says, turn right instead of left. Wait a moment. Right. But it's not about having fear. I do believe there's a lot to learn from fear, but it is about appreciating what am I to learn from that fear and step into that energy. What are you here to teach me?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Something I noticed too about the intuition, and because of this, my theme for this year is to slow down. Because you said pause, right? So you want to
Mhm.
pause before you get the intuition to turn left or right. I'll tend to be so busy, or I'll just go through so quickly through my day that my intuition kicks in like a half a second after I need it to, and it's like, oh, if I just would have gone a little bit slower, I would have caught that, or I wouldn't have done that, or I wouldn't have sent that, text or email or whatever. I would have, corrected it before it happened.
I love how you expressed that. And, it's about just taking the breath, slowing down, and really it is about the spirituality in all of us, about we're spiritual beings, not spiritual doings. So we want to step into the energy of being and what it's like to be here, what's it like to be not doing anything? What's it like to be here meditating or breathing or enjoying what's in the present moment? Absorbing the energy from the sun, or laying back and relaxing, or if you're eating, enjoying the food that's in front of you, slowing down and appreciation. But I do believe what you're also expressing is about mindfulness, right? How can we cultivate a more mindful awareness in our life, right? And that is all about each morning, meditate, take a few moments, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, stepping into the awareness that you are breathing, you are in appreciation, you are in gratitude, and then really moving through your day. But I feel like beginning your morning with a little bit of energy with self, with your own awareness of how you're feeling, like checking in, designing your day, like hoping, asking for a beautiful day ahead of you, but stepping into that level, that vibration and frequency of love, it kind of sets the course or helps you navigate from what you do from that point forward.
Another thing I would love to talk about is something you do for others, which is you help put them in touch with their loved ones who have passed on.
Mhm.
What is it? that they could do, maybe if someone's listening, what could they do to get in touch with someone in particular?
Right. So I'm an evidential medium and I bring through the survival of consciousness. That's why we're connecting with our loved ones, was to show my clients who's working with me that their loved ones are here. I bring through evidence that they can validate or they can confirm. And my goal is to hope that their heart is opening and that they're connecting with the energy that's coming through, which is their loved ones. So, my advice for people who do want to connect with their departed loved ones is to understand that it may even come through in another way. Like it's like we have to learn the language of spirit, meaning we have to really step into love. We have to step into the fond memories we have about our loved ones, because it is through the heart, it's through the power of the heart and the love that we have for them that brings them into our own awareness. That's what I want to tell people. Sometimes we may feel that we hear them talking in our head, but we don't believe it. We just feel like, oh, that's a memory I have of them. But I do want to say you also might entertain or invite the idea that that is a connection that you're making with them, that they're the ones helping you connect the dots, so to speak, to remember what they sound like, what they would have said, their sense of humor, so to speak. I encourage people to write a letter to their loved ones. Tell them what's going on in your life, what questions you have for them. Tell them how much you love them and you miss them. Ask them what they're doing now. That's what a lot of people ask me as a medium. Tuck that letter in a safe space. Uh, Reread the letter, pull it back out and read it a week later, or 2 weeks later, and realize that you may have received some of those answers, whether it came to you in a dream, an inspired thought, an action that you took that will connect with your loved ones in spirit.
Do you have any profound stories or examples that come to mind of people that you have worked with and connected them to people that have passed on?
I do work with people who have doubt, and that's okay. I'd love it when people come and they have questions that sometimes being skeptical can be a good thing because it generates more questions, and spirit only wants to help. Spirit only wants to help the questions. And in some way, for example, I worked with a woman not too long ago. We brought through her soulmate, her loved one, her beautiful husband, and we connected in a way where he showed her through validation, through not only how he was as a husband, but how they met, or he would share stories about what he had given her and the rings that she was still wearing of his, for example. Or he would talk about how not only how they met, but like where they traveled or what he did for a living. But this one, why it's so meaningful is he talked about his faith, and that really touched her as well, because him and her were of different faiths, but yet they were it's just such a beautiful love story how they met. But him bringing through that information meant so much to her, and about how she still held his prayer book, for example, because he wrote his own prayers even. So it meant so much more to her. It really, I feel, in some way helped her connect with that love and knowing that he's still around, he's still with her. He's sending signs to her too, whether it's coming through. I think he came through on the radio through music to her, which was really big for her because she hadn't been listening to music since his passing. Because it touched her so deeply to have to revisit that. But when she started to, she realized, oh my God, that's him connecting with me. Because sometimes a phrase would mean something to you, would resonate to you, or a particular song. So it was really life changing for her.
That's incredible.
Mhm.
I think I remember hearing you also share about how they could come in through places we don't expect, like an appliance breaking. Was there a vacuum cleaner that broke and you picked up on it and you said, "Oh yeah, that was him."
Well, sometimes, sometimes it's what could be both. Okay, our energy is raising to a point where the things around us are not of our high vibration anymore because we're transforming. So appliances could break, or the TV, the toaster, I mean, things that could break. but not all the time. And it's really just a sign to show you that, look, you're changing. But believe me, spirit doesn't do that intentionally. That's your energy showing you that, hey, I'm doing much better. But once again, it's not all the time and it doesn't happen to everybody. I believe the story you're mentioning was she couldn't spend money on herself because this one reading that you're mentioning, and he was had come through and told her, I'm putting this new vacuum cleaner in front of you. Like, you've got to start spending money on yourself, on travel, on appliances, on clothing, because I believe in that reading, she wasn't really the manager of the money in that relationship. I think he was the more of the manager. So it took a lot for her to start spending again. And, it just meant something that was dear to her to be able to, like, gosh, if I really could spend money on myself, what would that look like? And so in that message, he was coming through to show her, look, you've got to step into that energy. Like, I'm still with you. I'm still sending you money to spend. Please, that's my love. That's how I'm taking care of you. Very endearing.
Yes, yes. Do you get messages just from walking past people or talking to people?
Oh, God, it's a good question. I do. And I don't get asked that question often either, but I do. And I feel as an intuitive, it's my responsibility as a medium to kind of know my time and place to do my work, or to have respect for people, because we all have departed loved ones and guides around us, but some people are more open. And people who are open, meaning that they are in more of that energy of love, and maybe their intuition, they work on their intuition. They are easy to connect with their loved ones, so to speak. I don't want to use the word easy. I'll just say it's available. It's more available. How's that? Um, and that's not to be in fear around any of us, because we have to trust that the spirit world, there's a need from the spirit world. For example, I would not have been made aware that there was a spirit, a departed loved one around that person, had not the spirit world brought it to my attention, because there was a need for them to connect with that loved one. All right. So I do believe I have to trust the spirit world. If they do want to come through, I can pick up information. And what I do personally is I say, okay, if it's meant to be, if I can help this person, let me approach them in a way that's kind and respectful and ethical, or let them come into my energy field where maybe I introduce myself and ask them if they're interested. Let's set some time aside. But I never on the spot read people. I'll just say that. I really don't do that. I try to really appreciate everyone's energy field, because we are all having a spiritual awakening. We are all opening up, and it is proper, it's considerate, it's ethics that we respect each other's space, right? We respect each other's energy field. We respect you as a human being, as a spiritual being on your own path, and understand that we were in the same arena, so to speak, or we were in the same grocery store, so to speak, or wherever I meet you, that there are no coincidences, that was meant to be that connection. Yeah.
Yes, yes. See, that's what I was wondering is if information does come through, do you have a sense of obligation to give them the message, or if that is something where they would have to come to you?
Mhm. I don't feel a sense of obligation to give anyone a message. I do feel, and when I meet people and they're very open, I will maybe connect with my guides and angels first and feel it out, so to speak. Is this an appropriate time for me to walk over and introduce myself? Is this an appropriate time? Maybe spirit's asking me just to say a prayer for this person, or to send them love. Maybe spirit's coming to me and saying, wow, she could really use some energy right now. She's going through something. That woman that you're looking at, that happens to be my daughter. So that's maybe how they'll ask me, as a medium, as an intuitive, as a light worker, as an energy healer. Maybe they'll ask me to do something like that, like just send them prayer, send them healing, knowing that I have a healing prayer circle, knowing that I'm a medium in some way, because they understand the power of prayer. They understand the power of love and of healing. And maybe that is enough at that moment. That could be the most overwhelming thing that woman receives, is someone saying a prayer for her, and she'll never know that people are praying for her, right? Like you and I, there are people around the world praying for us that we'll never meet. But there are, just like you and I, I'm sure we pray for the world, we pray for healing. And I always say, look, if you want to do something of higher mind, of higher service, that's what you want to do. That's where we should all be. We should all start there.
Well, if you do get any type of message from me while we're while we're recording this, you have my full permission to
Oh,
share it.
thank you
Um,
so much. Thank you.
yes, I am curious though, when did you know that you had these psychic abilities? How, how young were you when this started?
I was very young, right? I first saw the spirit world at a very young age, 3 years old. I always go back to that time frame because I remember the bed I was in. I felt them as a golden glow coming into my room. It was always a beautiful energy of love and support. It's as if a family was coming to visit me, and it's as if I remember them saying, "Hey, we're just checking in on you. How are you doing? Are you enjoying yourself? We're excited for you that you're here. Isn't this fun?" And then they would move a little bit of objects around in my room. So this happened a few times. And then in
Move
my teens,
objects.
well, they would move a toy around, or I saw a picture on my wall swing. But look, as a child, it's play, right? I mean, this is all play and amazement, and you're in awe. But that's kind of how, with the memories I have. And they visited me a couple of times. I would probably say 3 to 5 times I've had that experience. And then it came back to me in my teens, right? And really, I want to say I have angel awakenings in my life. I've had episodes where angels have come to me and really helped me, set me on my path, because we have to ask, please help me. How do I do this? These are the great questions to ask. But I grew up in a psychic family. My mother is psychic, my grandmother, my aunt. It goes all the way back to our lineage. My brother and I were very psychic growing up together. We were close in age, like best friends growing up. We practiced it. I mean, we had fun with it, and that's what I want to share with people. This is about tapping into your own natural ability and to have fun with it, to explore, to ask questions. Yep. So
Yeah.
yeah, it comes from my family. We had books of Edgar Casey growing up. I mean, we just had natural psychic books in our house, and it wasn't talked about outside the home. Back when I was a child, it wasn't on television. It wasn't. There weren't books at the bookstore. You really had to look way in the back or go to specialty bookstores to find something around spirituality, paranormal, for example. But yeah, it was out there. It's part of my family, so it was natural. But for a lot of people who get on this path of transformation, it is around, they may have loss in their family, right? They may have experienced a recent loss, or maybe they're very curious, right? I'm still very curious even today. Maybe they have friends in their circle, so to speak, their best friends, so to speak, may turn them on or get them more interested, take them to a mediumship event where they're realizing like, hey, I have those signs come to me, or I feel this energy happening. A lot of people who are intuitive have questions like, what is happening? Why am I picking up all this information or seeing people in spirit? Those are great questions to have, and I can help them with it, kind of discern and figure it out. Really, what's the best step for them?
That is amazing that you grew up in that atmosphere and that your family all had these abilities as well. What
Yeah.
was it like growing up, getting this information and these messages? I imagine it made school a little bit different, maybe friendships.
It does make, well, it wasn't really spoken outside of our home, and we weren't told not to speak of it. It's just that no one else wanted to talk about it. So we just figured, well, it just didn't interest them. But it was interesting in school. I have to say, intuitively, I could tell, you just, whether it's taking tests, not that I did great in school, but you could feel your way through what the subject matter was, what the questions were. And some things, I have to say, do come from spirit, meaning some answers would be like, have a bright light around them. We'll just say that, like that glow, and you would know that's the right answer. but also around work or colleagues. You once again, you wait for people to kind of bring it up first, and that's a respectful way to say it. It's not about me pushing it on anyone. I'm not here to convince anyone. But if they have an interest or they're curious, if they have a question, I'm happy to talk to them about it.
Amazing. What have we not covered yet that is important for the listeners to know?
For their health, for people who are on the spiritual journey or they want to know how to calm down that monkey mind or calm down their stress or their anxiety, which a lot of people have. And to heal, a lot of people are asking, they want to participate now in their own physical healing. Um, I always offer, look, get in touch with your own energy field, your own spirit within. Get in touch with your intuition. Ground yourself to Mother Earth. I can teach you that. There are a lot of resources on the internet. Step into meditation. Practice 5 or 10 minutes a day if you can. Keep a spiritual journal. Look for positive energy around you, whether it's reading inspirational magazines, for example, or listening to shows like yours. Whatever it is to help you understand that there is a higher frequency, a higher vibration out there. And that's really, if you're feeling drawn to it, that means something. There's no coincidences. And that is some way your soul calling, your spirit calling, and really get in touch and step into gratitude. Once again, have the gratitude journal. There's nothing like that to bring healing to you or to calm down that monkey mind. So stepping into gratitude is it can't be said enough. It's such a high vibration. Gratitude, compassion, love. These are higher frequencies that if we can get in touch with, we realize that we have those within us.
Uh, I just love talking to you. I have two closing questions, but before I ask them, where can the listeners go to hear more?
I have a website. It's mediumcheryl.com where they could join my free healing prayer circle. That's every Sunday evening online, or join my energy transformation sessions, which it's a monthly online group where I teach you about your energy field, about your intuition as well, where we also release blocks or what's holding us back, so to speak. But I'm on the website and also social media at mediumcheryl.com.
Okay, great. And that will be in the show notes, of course. And then for the first question, you basically just gave a lot of answers for this with talking about the healing. But it is, what is your number one health tip? So if you had to pick one thing, and it could be spirituality, it could be nutrition, emotional, physical, just the one piece of advice that you would want everyone to know.
The one piece of advice I want everyone to know is that they are loved. There is love in the world, and it is to breathe it in that you have that right. You are gifted. You are a loving being, right? We are naturally all about love. We live in this energy field of love. We emanate love. We breathe in love every day. So take that energy of love and expand on it, deepen it in your meditation practice. Drink it in when you're appreciating the drinks or the food that you're eating, right? Walk with love, right? Knowing that it's in your heart, your mind, body, soul, and watch it open up and invite positivity into your life.
For your final question, you get to choose a number 1 through 100, and it's going to be a personal question.
Oh, so I get to ask a question?
You get to choose a number, and
Oh,
then I'll
I choose a number. Oh, and then you're okay. I'm going to pick 99. That was the first number that came to me.
99. I don't think anyone has picked that one yet. What's a random act of kindness that made a difference in your life?
A random act of kindness that made a difference in my life was when there was a homeless person around where I was living at the time, and I would offer this person, I would go buy them food and offer it to them. And the act that that person gave back to me was that there was that connection, there was that spiritual connection of a smile, of appreciation, because this person had been, you could see that they were lost or, they just weren't available here that I maybe they were here maybe but not they didn't appear to be and they were They were down and out, so to speak. So it wasn't, and in some way we got to know each other, you know, and not that we talked or spoke or, but it's like I would bring this person food when I saw them, not all the time did I see them. They weren't always around in the same place, but then they would connect or acknowledge it, and it does do something to you. It's almost like it's like just tears inside of me started. You know, you don't realize how much we touch other people until something small like that that means it's miraculous when you can make a human connection. When it was more of a spirit connection too, it's like, wow, we're the same. There's this light within both of us. So I got so much more in return, you know. It was just an amazing experience.
Yeah, I think we forget that. Like, it's so incredible. It feels so incredible when we're able to do something that comes from love for someone else.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've never told that story or really shared it with anybody, and you're just helping remind me of that experience. Like this person was really, it was just something about me and this one person, like no one else is around. No one else will never know. And it didn't matter. It wasn't what you're thinking about. Like it doesn't matter. It's like helping, you're just helping someone, right? You know, for you, you're just, of course, it seems natural. And that's what I want to share with people. If it feels natural to help someone, don't question it. Just help them. And it could be that smile, it could be money or clothing or whatever, giving them the time of day, so to speak, acknowledging their presence and validating them. It's life changing.
Well, I'm so glad that you did get to share that story instead of, you
Thank you.
know, keeping it. Cheryl Murphy, you have the most calming energy I think I've ever felt interviewing anyone before. And I feel like I just finished a meditation with you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure connecting with you. And I really appreciate you sharing everything that you did.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.